Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to cover my 2019 wish list plants. I have it all appropriately listed in my planner, and I say appropriately because I love planning, maybe a little bit too much actually. Stationery is kind of like another passion of mine aside from plants. Well, there's pens and paper and that kind of gets me going. So in here I have them listed off. You know, some people have New Year's resolutions. I have New Year's plantarutions. That's definitely not a word. However, it probably should be, because that's basically what this is. I'm gonna give you a warning that a lot of these plants, if not all of them, don't really have a common name simply because they're not common plants. So as always, I will leave the little typed name of it somewhere right around here, so that you'll know what I'm attempting to say. I have 10 plants that I chose. There's probably much more that will be added to this list as the days pass on, but right now I have 10. I've collected this list and compiled this list over, gosh, some of these I've been wanting probably since like 2016 in the very least, like right when I started to get like deeper into researching plants, more than what you'll see like face value at the nursery, you know, like when you kind of like dive deep into the plant holes of YouTube or Instagram or somewhere and you're like, I didn't even know this existed. That's kind of how I found all of these plants. And I'm a little bit afraid, just a little bit, to share them with you guys, simply because they're so hard to find that it's like, I don't even know if they'll ever exist, and if they do, you might get it before me, and that would be traumatic. Although, you know, sharing does mean caring. I feel like I got a hair in my eyeball. Do you see it? Because I definitely can't, like, see it, but I feel it. Oh, I feel like it's like coming out. Oh, that's weird. One sec. I got it! It doesn't look like anything to you, perhaps. It might look like I'm playing the invisible violin, but it's there. And it hurt. For those of you who don't know, the invisible violin is like when someone says a sad story and you go, because it's like, you know, like, apparently violins are associated with sadness. I don't know. In any case, that's what it is. There was a thread in my eye. It's very painful. Let's get to the list. The first plant I've wanted for a long time, probably the longest out of all the plants on the list, and therefore it's my number one. It's the Crassula umbella. It is so weird. It is so fun. I've also heard it referred to as like I think the wine cup succulent. I would just call it the Crassula umbella just because, as I said, it's not very common at all, and if you said it's like a wine cup plant, I'm sure you'll get a lot of other weird things on the internet instead of this plant, but it's so unique. It's so fun. It has kind of like succulent leaves that are cupped and rounded like this. If you ever find one, message me immediately, because I have been hunting for a while and I've never found it online, certainly never in person at a nursery. I'm starting to doubt if it even exists or not. Also, if you have a Crassula umbella, let me know. I would love to hear about it. The next plant I would love to have is called the Anthurium Claire. The reason why I like this plant so much, and actually I've seen this one start popping up everywhere in terms of people wanting this plant, but the reason why I would love this plant is because it's a huge petunia plant. And if you saw my 2018 favorite plants of the year, you'll know that petunia was my number one late. I'm just gonna show you and then I'll give the story. My number one is this little guy. It's petunia. The reason why I chose this one is because of how integrated she has been. It has been in my life, in my household, because she's literally talked about like she's a character because of how vocal and how expressive and dramatic the plant is. I want to get her a big sister. The next plant that I would love to add is a Laelia Chordata, which basically, I think the common word of it is a fan palm, which is very appropriate because it's like, you know, like when you're a little kid and you kind of like up to paper and then it kind of creates like a little fan. If you don't, give me a second, I'll grab some paper. And eventually you get something that looks a lot better, but similar to this, in the sense that it has these kind of crinkled leaves like this. Oh, this is actually really, really pleasant. I'm very pregnant right now. I mean, no more pregnant than I was in last video, just further along in the pregnancy. And even though it's winter, my body says it's summer. But in any case, this is sort of like the leaves of that palm that I would love to have. It's mind-blowing, it's fantastic, and it's probably an accordion's favorite plant. This next one you've heard me talk about already. If you saw the 2018 plant video that I referred to a second ago when I talked about the big girl version of Petunia, this plant was also mentioned in it. And it is the Variegated Irelia. I believe it's the Irelia balfour plant. Ryan didn't believe me that it existed. It does exist. I am showing you a picture of it. It's here. It's a very beautiful plant and not one that I've seen ever before in nurseries. I mean, it's hard enough to try and find like the Irelia Fabian stump in nurseries, but let alone like the variegated one. I'm telling you, like, Irelias are like one of the most slept on houseplants like of all time. Like, Monsteras are great. Don't get me wrong. The pink Philodendron princess plant, spoiler alert, is on my list. However, it is also everyone's wish list plant. But you know what should be? The Irelia. They're fantastic. I'm raising Irelia awareness in 2019. I feel like that should be a hashtag. If it's not a hashtag, I'm gonna use the hashtag. I'll be like that one person on Instagram that's like, Irelia awareness 2019! Which is, I guess, kind of appropriate, because then I also use the hashtag plantaroonies, because I always say plantaroonies, but that one is also a very deserted hashtag. Maybe with time. Next up on the list is a plant I have wanted for a while. It's a plant that I first saw in Hawaii, and it is gorgeous. It's called the rainbow eucalyptus. It is mesmerizing. It is mystical. It is literally as if like a unicorn made love with Mother Nature and they created the baby, which is the rainbow eucalyptus. It's mind-blowing. I can't even say enough about it. I really, really, really would love one and plant it in my backyard. I'll plant a whole forest of them in my backyard, and I will be that one lady just living in a weird rainbow jungle. But I'll tell you what, I'll be very happy and very colorful. It'll rain glitter upon the land of my yard. Okay, this next one is a Licuala Mataneus Mapu? I'm not sure. It's another palm, but this is a stunning dwarf palm. It like the base color of the leaves are this kind of neon beautiful green, which you know your girl loves. I love neon green and neon pink together. Alien watermelon, match made in heaven. But this one, it has like neon green standard palm leaves with darker green speckles all over it. It's like a Dalmatian palm tree. Very hard to find. One that I would love to add into my collection. It's a stunner. This next plant, I want so badly. I will quite literally jump up and down, full of joy, and simultaneously extreme sadness if I ever get this plant. And I say extreme sadness simply because if I ever get this plant, I probably also am broke, because it is not a cheap plant. It is also a very hard to find plant. It is a very slow growing plant, and it's so beautiful. It's the Thai constellation, Monstera deliciosa. Everyone wants like the white variegated Monstera deliciosa, and I don't blame you. It's fantastic, but the Thai constellation, first of all, I love space. I love astronomy. I also love it because it has those classic little Monstera holes that are perfect if you're a little bug trying to play hide and seek. which I am. I almost didn't even put this next plant on the list simply because everybody, their grandmother, their child, their next door neighbor wants it. So it's highly unlikely that I will get this plant within the foreseeable future because of how in demand it is. And that is the pink princess philodendron. I love pink plants in general, and green plants with pink is stunning. But this one also gets so dark in some areas that it's nearly black. What? I know, it's absolutely mind-blowing, the range of colors that this foliage produces. It's beautiful. And I quite literally drool just a little bit when I see it. Coming up to number 9, we have the Aloe Sabrina, which reminds me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but it's not. It is like the zebra teenage witch. That's not at all a thing. But it has like the stalks of the alocasia with like little stripies on it. And then beautiful green leafy foliage. It's so stunning and it's so fun. And I would love to add it in here. Maybe, well, depending on the size. I mean, I'd take a really big one, but I'd also take kind of like a small one. Just any of them. They're super fun. I have seen them sold online actually. They're a little bit easier to get than the rest of the ones on my list, but most of the ones I've seen are abroad, much like this last plant that is on my list, which is the Raven ZZ plant. Ugh! Sorry, planner, let me just fold the papers correctly. You have to last me a whole year. Oh, I even marked it with the little neon green tabs, but you know what, we're getting off point. Back to the Rainbow ZZ plant. Rainbow ZZ? No. Raven ZZ plant. The ZZ plant, as I'm sure all of you know, is like the #1 suggested plant if you are starting out in the houseplant world because it is allegedly super easy to take care of, so durable. You can just like blink and the plant will probably survive for like 30 days on its own. But for whatever reason, I have never ever been drawn to the ZZ plant. I looked at it, I've seen it, I thought of it, but I never ever was wanting to add it to my collection until I saw the Raven ZZ plant. The foliage is so dark, and I think my new thing in 2019, honestly, is all about kind of like dark, nearly black plants because it's unreal. It's beautiful, and it's like the epitome of like a funky, unique, stunning plant. You know? That being said, I've only ever seen the Raven ZZ plant sold, I believe, mainly in the UK. That's where I've seen it so far. And the website that I've seen it shipped on doesn't currently ship to the US, but hopefully, someday, not too far away from today, I will add it to the Fam Bam. So those are my top plants for 2019. I would love to hear what yours are, and I would love to hear if you have any of the any of the plants that are on my list, because let's talk about it. I would love to educate myself, to prepare myself for this new plant parenthood that is coming upon me. Tentatively, if I'm able to find the plants, that is. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Sorry, Mr. Ficus. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.